Hey everybody, what's up? It's Courtney here, aka the okayest trail runner, and I am filming a slightly different video today in that we are here at the Mount Elbert North Trailhead. And I'm going to be summiting Mount Elbert today and attempting a looped route that's going to be about 14 miles. So my understanding is maybe the last 4 miles or so are going to be a little bit runnable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to film whenever I can. It is really cold out here, so whenever my hands aren't totally freezing or it's not super windy, I'm going to film the experience, give you some tips, particularly if you're a beginner and you haven't climbed a 14er before. At the end of this video, I'm going to go back and talk to you about all the gear that I'm using, what I packed with me, and overall what the experience is like. All right, I hope this video is helpful and informative and fun for y'all. See you soon. All right, so I'm running. The trail has leveled out a little bit. Took the split for the North Mount Elbert Trail. The Colorado Trail goes off to the left. That was at about 1.25 miles in. I have something like maybe 600 feet of elevation gain. So understanding that this is over a 5,000 foot climb, you know it's gonna get steep later. But happy for this little runnable section here. I will check in soon. About 2.25, 2.5 miles in, over 1,000 feet. It's starting to get steep. What's up everybody? We are just about 3 miles in, just getting above tree line here. It is starting to get spicy, but the views are awesome. Starting to feel a little bit of wind up here, but honestly, the hike has been gorgeous so far. This is a Memorial Day weekend, and you know, there's been a good amount of people, but it's definitely not too crowded. I was able to get a parking spot at the bottom, so I know this is the part that's gonna get real spicy and real steep, so tune in for more. We made it! Yeah! Gorgeous up here.
I had to retire myself and drinking for it.
So we made it. I'm gross. My nose is running, but we are on our way down. Only caveat is I missed the turnoff for the South Trail to do this 14-mile loop. It was much closer to the summit than I actually thought. So I got to a point on the North Trail. I was hiking with a friend that I just met. we did this hike mostly together, and she was like, it looks like you could just kind of cut across and reconnect up with a trail because you could see the South Trail pretty clearly. So that is what I did. I just cut across a bunch of snow, and here I am. So found the trail, no problem. Heading back down towards the Colorado Trail. It is a lovely day. Even though I didn't film much at the summit because it was cold, it was not super windy. So even though there were points on the way up that were definitely like crazy windy, the summit actually was not that bad. So I think we got pretty lucky today. Beautiful day for a hike down. Put on some extra sunblock. Gonna stop and get some fuel soon. Dealing with some snow, but I have done this whole hike without spikes. Poles definitely came in handy though. All right, we'll check in when we're closer to the end. See y'all. All right, so we made it back to the Colorado Trail, despite my miss in navigation with where the South Trail picks up, which is closer to the summit than I thought. But this little section has been just gorgeous. As you can see, aspen trees, so pretty. Not quite like fully in bloom yet, not a ton of leaves, but just really looking forward. I've actually been on this section of the Colorado Trail before, so looking forward to getting a little bit of shade. It's definitely hot now. I am totally burning up. I'm losing this hat. You know, the cool thing is that, like I said, you know, at the summit there was zero wind, even though there was a ton of wind in the last like 2.5 miles getting up to the summit. So anyways, you know, just really happy that it's been a beautiful day, not a ton of wind. I mean, the lesson learned from, or the key takeaway from this is just, you know, definitely check open snow for the actual peak conditions for the day that you plan to attempt this, because the weather in Leadville is going to be totally different than the weather at the peak of Mount Elbert or Mount Massive or wherever else you are. So definitely do your research. I knew I was prepared for 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. I definitely saw them, but luckily they kind of came and went in spurts. It kind of depended where you were on the trail. So, and then once you get back down here on the Colorado Trail, it's super chill. The wind is kind of blocked by the trees. So anyways, just about 4.5 more miles to go. And then we're going to be back and I'm going to give you a quick recap. All right. We're done. We finished the whole thing and my little detour only cost me an extra half mile. I've got to say the way back was pretty, although you don't really have any mountain views. You're on the Colorado Trail, so it is more shady. There's some like stream crossings, so if you need some extra water, you have some good opportunities to like filter if you need to. I would say, like, you know, I ran or jogged. Let's say jogged. I jogged a good majority of the way back. There was more uphill on the way back than I expected. I think I picked up an extra 500, 600 feet of elevation on the way back, which, you know, my legs were not super thrilled about. But, you know, got it done, picked up some good time there. Altogether, I did this route in just about 5.5 hours. So it took me, let's see, maybe about 2.5 hours to get to the summit. That was hiking, not really any running, maybe other than a couple of steps. And then on the way down to this time of year, there was some snow, there was some ice. I did not need traction. I was able to just kind of maneuver around the snow patches and the icy patches. Used my poles quite a bit though. So I do highly recommend that if you're gonna do this route, especially at this time of the year, that you do bring poles and you do bring traction, like just in case. And then of course, where I took my detour and I missed the turnoff for the South Elbert Trail, I ended up just kind of cutting across the snowpack. Don't know how safe that was, but I kind of followed somebody else's footsteps. So that's how, well, A, I picked up extra mileage, but B, I got a little bit more time in the snow. So, you know, realistically with the stops and everything all involved, like maybe this took me 5 hours, 45 minutes. If I was really trying to push it, but you know, maybe I could do it in 5 hours if I knew what I was doing and the conditions were ideal. So, and again, that's, you know, doing some trail running on the way back as much as you possibly can. But overall, I'm like, this is such a beautiful area. I kept stopping to take pictures and of course film for you all as much as I possibly could. I ended up getting very warm on the way back, so I do highly recommend, like, if you're gonna do this, of course, bring appropriate layers. Prepared to be both cold and hot at the exact same time or shortly one after the other. You know, bring different sets of gloves. I did end up using my hand warmers, even though I had 2 pairs of gloves when it was super windy going up, like wind gusts up to, you know, probably over 50 miles an hour. I definitely needed hand warmers, so I do recommend that you bring hand warmers. I had an emergency blanket on me too. I'm gonna go back to my Airbnb and I'm actually gonna take apart my pack and show you everything that I packed, all the different layers that I wore, and walk you through what worked really well. But overall, Mount Elbert was awesome. Final thing that I wanna note here is that I have a fear of heights, so I'm always a little bit nervous about exposure. This trail was really great for that, meaning that, like, there really weren't any parts where I was super uncomfortable. I also have a tendency to just, like, not look out over the edge while I'm in the middle of the hike. So maybe that helps. Maybe I'm also, like, through exposure therapy getting better at this stuff, but I didn't find it sketchy either the north or the south route. Even the south is technically considered a class 2. So I hope that's helpful for all of you. Again, this is a pretty, I wouldn't say easy effort-wise, but this is an easier 14er in terms of navigation. easy enough to find the trails, except for the south trail. You kind of missed the turn because there's no sign, maybe just because there was winter, but wasn't too crowded, easy to get to the parking lot. Also worth noting, I had cell phone service every time that I looked at my phone on this route. Super cool. Didn't expect that, but it's definitely a nice little bonus. So great cell phone service, not too far from Leadville. I'm gonna go grab some lunch somewhere. I hope this was helpful for you. This is such a great 14er if this is gonna be your first. So highly recommend doing Mount Elbert. Thanks for following along today. See y'all. Hey everybody. Okay, so this is the final part of this video. I'm just gonna quickly go through just about everything that I had in my pack. The one thing that I don't have in here are my poles, which I'll share a photo of them here. I have the leaky poles. These are kind of designed for trail and ultra runners, super lightweight, and they come with one of these kind of like glove things, so they actually hook onto your hands. Pros and cons of that. I will say, like, I actually didn't use these much today as I just kind of wanted the freedom to be able to put the poles down if I had to. When I did use them was when it got super windy near the summit because my poles like almost blew away on me a couple times. So I like just having them attached to my hands. But if you ever have to scramble, it might be best to bring like a pole quiver or something to just stash the poles with because they kind of got in the way a couple times when I kind of had to use my hands. But nonetheless, let's go through the rest of this. Okay, so climbing a 14er, what's in my pack? First, I'm gonna start with like, I ate a good breakfast. One thing that I find really helpful for altitude are these Acclimate packs. There's just like a bunch of, I don't know, like ginseng, ginger, vitamins, electrolytes, supposedly scientifically proven to help with altitude acclimation. So I drank a couple packs the day before I got to altitude and also the morning before the hike. I had no major like headaches, dizziness issues on the hike. So kudos to this and electrolytes in general. I was also drinking some Element. I actually didn't put this in my pack today, but I did drink some Element in the morning. What I did put in my pack was the Scratch hydration mix. I love this particular Scratch product. It's just not super sweet. It's also not super salty. Element can be super salty, so this is the one that I just kind of like for me. I did have a bladder in my pack, so let me just show you my pack real quick. I opted to wear a trail running pack. I don't think I'd actually recommend this for most of you. I was planning to run a lot. I kind of wanted the flexibility. I've actually bought kind of an in-between pack at this point. So I brought my hiking pack just in case I decided, sorry, it's stuck on stuff, just in case I decided I wanted to use the whole thing, but I didn't really think, like, given the weather, that I needed as many layers as sometimes you might. So the running pack actually worked well, and I had a 2-liter bladder. That did perfectly fine for me for like the 5.5 hours that I was out there. Of course, just had like general snacks. I love Bobo bars, Cliff bars, whatever kind of snacks you like. Sunblock. The sun is super intense at high altitude, so make sure that you bring your sunblock, as well as chapstick. It was super windy. Everything on my face was chafing. A lot of people use Vaseline also just to kind of lube up your face. That's awesome. Now for layers, I had a Smart Wool base layer on, and for reference, it was about 20, 22 degrees at the summit. And then it was like 60 degrees when I got back down. So layering up is super important. So I had a Smart Wool base. Then I used this shell. This is a Nike product, a jacket, but really any puffy coat. I would just pack a puffy in the back of your pack, 100%. What I opted for as a third layer, which I actually didn't end up using today, I started in this and ended up taking it off, was just like a wind shell. Also definitely highly recommend a wind shell. Again, because it was crazy windy up there. The one thing that I wish that I had was something more than just this hat. I wish I would have packed a balaclava because my face was freezing. And this buff that I had, even though it was Smart Wool, this is just a little too big on me, so it kept sliding down. So my cheeks were just frozen, my mouth was frozen. So I could have done better on this part. I really like these glasses. These are by Glade Optics. They're actually like local here, I think out of Breckenridge. But they change, like the polarization of the lenses changes based on the sunlight, which is really nice. And they're kind of this bigger design, so they block the wind a lot better. Highly recommend. For gloves, also recommend layering. What I ended up doing is I have these weird gloves that are like, I'm trying to demonstrate, it's a little bit tricky. They're basically fingerless gloves, good for layering. And then I had these Under Armour like storm gloves. These are lined, but they're also mittens that kind of open up. So if you need your fingers, which I did because I was filming this video and taking a lot of pictures, this is a great glove. It is super warm and fuzzy on the inside, just a really great layer. I also ended up invoking the use of hot hands today. So I recommend you bring a set of hot hands. My fingers were freaking freezing, especially holding the poles, so I recommend that. In my pack, getting into kind of like some safety items, always have an emergency blanket, just in case something happens, you get cold, maybe an extra set of hot hands. And then of course, I did not use my spikes today, but these black diamond spikes are some of my favorites. They're super grippy if like there's really bad slippery ice. I wasn't sure 100%, even though I checked the conditions, what it would be like. So here you go, black diamond spikes. Any kind of biodegradable wipes. You're gonna be out there for hours. You're probably gonna have to use the bathroom and you're starting really early. So I might recommend you bring some wipes with you. Now more so on the safety category, Garmin InReach. It's expensive, yes. There's a subscription fee, yes, but is it worth it for peace of mind? 100%. Highly recommend you get one of these. You could text anybody. You could actually text people from your phone using the Garmin. It's all included in the plan. It is super worth it just to keep, you know, important people in your life in the loop. It does tracking so people can visit a web link and actually see where you are in the mountain. Highly recommend this. Then I actually heard about this from a story of somebody who scared off a mountain lion using one of these. This is called Hootie. What it is it's a noisemaker. When you engage it and pull the pin, it emits like 130 dB sound. It's basically deafening. And it's probably your best bet for getting rid of a mountain lion or a bear. Better than, you know, bear sprays kind of hit and miss depending on the wind direction. So I always carry one of these with me, this noisemaker, to scare away animals. So that's it on the safety side. Outside of that, you know, I wore trail running shoes today and they were totally fine. I'm not a big fan of hiking boots. I just find them super restrictive and heavy. So I wore a trail running shoe. I wore my heart rate monitor. I had my Garmin on. I was using my phone for navigation in this case, but I downloaded the map on AllTrails beforehand. This particular route was also super easy to navigate. And then just some other things that help me at altitude. I take creatine supplement. I just think it's really, again, helpful for kind of, you know, keeping you hydrated. And tart cherry, also my favorite just for inflammation reduction. I tend to get super puffy up here. You could probably see it in my face. Not much you could do about that. Also all the electrolytes and everything, super puffy. But tart cherry is really great for reducing inflammation after these activities. I know my first night sleeping in Leadville, I got horrible sleep. My HRV was tanked. It's just the altitude. So do what you can to bring anti-inflammatories. Also have some allergy medicine, could kind of help as well. Bring anything that you need to be comfortable. So that's what's in my pack. That's what I wore. That's what I carried to summit Mount Elbert today. I was pretty comfortable again outside of my face getting cold. So anyways, I hope this is helpful for you. If you go and do Elbert, just have fun. Be sure to check the weather as well. This is my final tip, I promise. I use Open Snow to check the actual weather on the summit. So you can look at a general weather report for Leadville. It's going to be very different than what's happening on the mountain. And the great thing about Open Snow is that it also tells you the snow report. So I knew ahead of time how much snow that mountain had gotten in the past 7 days. So I could prepare accordingly and know, like, again, whether or not I really needed spikes. That, and also check out 14ers.com. There is an app and a website. That's where I read recent trip reports from other hikers to see what the conditions are like. You could find the routes on 14ers.com as well, even though ultimately I ended up using an AllTrails route today. So tools, tips, everything you need to go summit Elbert or any other 14er. All right, happy hiking, y'all.